Welcome back. This is your man Warrior, and I wanted to do the update video on the new young Han Solo and the new Chewie. Now, this update got pushed up to today. Wasn't supposed to, but it did. And unfortunately, I work, and so I'm at work. So sorry for the audio quality, but I wanted to cover this stuff for anybody who doesn't really do the forums and or they just want to get my analysis on this. So we're going to go ahead and go through this. Now, these two new characters bring in a new ability. It's not even an ability. It's kind of it's like an ability, but it's not a buff or debuff. It's called Prepared. And Prepared is something that they can kind of, like a switch, turn on or off. And it's going to be inside of it. And so this is why I start with Han Solo, because Han Solo talks about the Prepared, how he gets it. He gets it pretty easily, and he passes it to other target allies. And so pretty cool. We're going to go ahead and go right into it. We're going to start with his trick shot. And so his trick shot deals physical damage to a target enemy and inflicts speed down. Pretty good for a basic, and that's 2 turn speed down. Han becomes prepared if the target was below 50% turn meter. So we'll explain that in a second, but he basically gets this ability, okay, called prepared. So we're just gonna put that over his head. He has prepared on his basic. Pretty cool. Then he has one called Upper Hand. This is used every other friggin' turn. This is crazy. Han's going to gain protection up, 100% that is, and Retribution for 2 turns. This is pretty dope. And then Han Solo is also going to gain 50 speed as a bump every time he uses this, up to the first 4 times using it in this encounter. That's up to 200% stack speed. That is absolutely nutty. I love that ability. He has a special called Just in Time, and this is going to deal physical damage to a target enemy. Attacks deal 25% more damage for each other prepared ally. Now, there's a chance that you might have 1, maybe 2, but probably only 1, if that, with the new reworks as of now, because there's only 2 characters that get this prepared, unless you're tossing the prepared onto other target allies, and that is a possibility, but more than likely, you're only going to get an extra 25% damage is what I'm trying to say, because the likelihood of having a bunch of other allies having prepared is unlikely. So the target other ally, the one that you target, is going to recover protection equal to 50% of the damage dealt. That's decent protection recovery. Now, prepared. It says if young Han Solo is prepared, and remember that can happen on his basic, target other ally becomes prepared, and Han Solo's no longer prepared. Now, that's a mouthful, but basically what that means is when he becomes prepared, he just basically passes it to another target ally, and then he loses it, and then he can give it to himself again on his basic, and then again he can pass it to another ally, and he can lose it, and then he can gain it again on his basic. So he's basically the guy who is the engine for adding this prepared ability onto all of the other target allies. And it says then you get then all prepared allies will gain critical damage up for 1 turn, and Han will regain protection equal to 50% of the damage dealt. Again, more protection recovery. Pretty crazy. He's got multiple protection recoveries, and he's passing that prepared out to target allies. Now, ready for anything is his unique, and it says when Han starts his turn with protection up, and he has multiple ways of giving himself protection up, he gains 10% offense stacking and 10% critical chance stacking until the end of the battle. Pretty crazy. It's not an encounter, it is end of battle. So just know that if you're in a raid or something like that and you're in phase 1, this is going to stack pretty high, pretty quick in a particular phase. Han also has a while prepared, meaning that he's got that prepared buff. He has a 70% chance to assist another scoundrel ally's attack during their turn. That's limited once per turn, kind of like Visa Smar is supposed to be. So he can have a call outside of a turn, and it's a 70% chance. So this is kind of cool. This is now the second one that they're having that calls assists outside a turn. That's limited to only a one-time thing, but not a bad counter, and the offense stacking and the crit chance stacking is pretty good. So here he is passing protection up. He's got the ability to pass the prepared around. Now we'll go over to Vandor Chewbacca. Vandor Chewbacca, he's got the little goggles, looks pretty dope. He has a basic called Unchained. It's going to deal physical damage to a target enemy, and if it's Chewbacca's turn, which more than likely it is unless he's being called to assist, we'll assume it's just his basic turn to go. He goes, he's going to get advantage for 2 turns, and this attack is going to ignore the defense, so you'll get truer damage. Second one is his first special called Freedom Fighter. This is pretty cool. It says it deals physical damage based on Chewbacca's max health. So this is interesting. You're going to want to mod him for health big time, but also he's going to give himself a crap ton of additional health. Just stay tuned. All right, so it's based on his health instead of his attack damage. This is a very interesting ability. It says to target enemy twice. So he's going to deal damage twice based on his health, and he's going to do that to an enemy based on his max health. So again, you're going to want to mod him for health. And it says target other ally, so we're going to target another ally. They're going to recover health equal to 50% of that damage dealt. And then Chewbacca and the other target ally are going to gain protection up for 2 turns. Now remember, when Han Solo has protection up, it helps him with prepared. So they're obviously playing on each other and having this ability. Now again, for prepared, what it does for Chewie, because it does something different for each one of them. When Chewie has prepared, it says if he's prepared, he'll deal double damage for this attack. He recovers health equal to 50% of the damage dealt, reduces this ability's cooldown by 2, which means he could use it every other stinking turn. That's really, really crazy. And all prepared allies would get protection up for 30% for 2 turns, and then you would no longer have it. So it's something that they kind of earn or get or pass along, and then they can use it. It's kind of a thing, kind of like I said, like a switch. It turns on or off. If they have it, they can. It triggers this ability, and then once they trigger it, they lose it until they gain it again through the ability to gain it, just like they do. For example, Han Solo passing it. So these are 2 pretty cool characters. We don't have any footage yet. Really, I just have them in the game just like everybody else. You guys could read these kits yourselves. I just kind of wanted to explain prepared because I know a lot of people are kind of confused. They think it's a buff that goes over their head, and that's not the case. Basically, they can give themselves this prepared, and once they have it, it gives them a new ability that then once they use that ability goes away until they get prepared again. It's just a term called prepared. It's kind of like an unlock of a special ability. So I have a feeling these guys are going to be really, really, really good in the Sith raid. Pretty excited about trying them out in Territory Wars because of the new update, and I do want to go over the new update today as well, so stay tuned for more. So with young Han Solo and Vandor Chewbacca, you're probably wondering why these 2 characters and how would you play with them, and what is this whole prepared thing about? And so prepared is a new strategic effect which is going to allow you to make decisions based on how things are going in a battle. You'll get to choose which ability that Han or other characters should be using based on your prediction of your team's needs for future battles. When prepared, that new ability, young Han's going to be an amazing source of really, really good out-of-turn damage because of his natural assist chance that you saw he has, along with that ramping damage that he gives and the ability to increase the team's offense. Upper Hand will recover protection and help the little Han guy achieve a stacking speed bonus, which is up to 200 speed, pretty dope. And then Trick Shot generates prepared if the enemy target was below 50% turn meter, and that just in time has that potential to deal massive damage while offering preparation and restoring protection to another ally. Now, Chewbacca is a tank who's going to provide that AoE protection recovery for a scoundrel ally. So he could be used with any scoundrel, although there is some light side synergy there. Players using Chewie are going to be given a choice to strategically decide whether they want to spend prepared for protection, recovery, and damage, or retain his prepared status to reactively revive a scoundrel ally, because it's one or the other when he has it. Additionally, if he uses it, it's one way, and if he keeps it, it's another. Chewie, when buffed, also has a 100% chance to counter, making him a valuable contributor to the scoundrel team. Chewie also decreases incoming damage for any team, making him versatile and useful. His basic Unchained is going to work well against targets with high armor, right, because it ignores that defense. And then while his special Freedom Fighter scales damage based on his max health, which can deal significant damage while he's prepared and help heal and protect both Chewie and his allies. So your strategies with this team are going to be numerous, but it's really cool because it's kind of like the Bounty Hunter rework in the sense that you get to make more unique decisions in game based on what your needs are at the time, and so there's less AI and more unique involvement from the player. All right, now that we've briefly gone over the characters, I just wanted to go over the update really quick so you guys can get this splash. I know there's a couple of truck drivers out there, and you guys kind of listen to me like a podcast as you're driving, and so I wanted to give you this information so you don't have to sit there and try and read and drive. Definitely don't read and drive. It's dangerous for sure. Now, it talks about the new characters. Events, of course, there's going to be a couple of events. They're already dropped in the game. One is called Preparation Perfection 1 and Preparation Perfection 2. Say that 5 times fast. You're going to unlock young Han Solo. It says May 17th. I know initially it was typoed. It is March 17th, but it was actually May 17th for sure because we don't have to wait till next year to do these. So here in a couple of days, pretty cool. These are marquee events. What that means is you can take any of your guys in there and slaughter it and get this character to 3 stars. So pretty cool. And then they'll be farmable in about 3 months. If you choose, you can spend a little bit of money and get them higher by a star or up to 7 stars if you really want to go all in. As far as the packs and bundles are concerned that are coming out, they have the Ability Materials pack, and it comes out for 3 days, the 17th, 18th, and 19th. And if you're really coy and do it masterfully, you can actually purchase this 4 times in those 3 days. So pretty cool if you're really, really careful. It is worth it, in my opinion, for in-game users, especially whales and dolphins. But if you're someone who's free to play and doesn't spend any money, obviously this pack is not for you. But it's pretty amazing to be able to get, almost 2 abilities completely maxed out right off the get with the 9 Omega abilities. And then of course they're going to have a Han Solo bundle to get an extra star and a Chewbacca bundle to get an extra star. And then they're going to have the packs for them. Me personally, these characters are going to be, a couple $100 a piece. And so for a lot of people who are wanting to know, is it worth it? Really, these characters look amazing, but I think that you could probably wait a couple of months to get them in the free-to-play format of just farming them. But if you really want to use them in the Sith raid, you really want to increase your scores, want to use them in territory wars more effectively, you may want to go in on these packs. I guess that's just a personal decision for you to make up. As far as territory battle changes, they've temporarily pulled Captain Han Solo's requirement out because there's a bug associated with him, and they're trying to work it out, and once they do, they're going to toss him back in. And then the Rebel Assault 5 through 521, 526 has been rescheduled to an undetermined date. Not sure why, but they're going to go ahead and fix it and then bring it back out. As far as the territory war, there are new faction bonuses. 2 of them, in fact, one called Wet Work and the other one called A Step Ahead. They are for bounty hunters. So Wet Work is whenever a bounty hunter scores a critical hit, they dispel all debuffs on themselves. So they're going to cleanse themselves, kind of like R2-D2's unique that allows rebels to cleanse themselves on a crit. It's the same basic thing, but now they get this when they're in territory wars. It's going to make for a really good defensive team, and they're going to gain 15% critical damage stacking for the rest of the battle. That is crazy. Now it is battle, so it will fall off in territory wars when the next team comes in, but still it's going to make them harder and harder and harder to kill when you're in there. And then they get also A Step Ahead, which gives them 20% critical chance as long as they have protection. They're going to start out with protection, obviously, and so they're going to be pretty much guaranteed crits at the very beginning of the battles. They're going to be a really good defensive squad. Pretty exciting about that. And then there is a particular ship shard that was swamped with at least 150 really competitive individuals. That specific and only that ship shard is having a migration. They're going to be moving those guys around and trying to make it a little less competitive for that particular one. And then lastly, on this shard shuffle, they're moving Sith Marauder to 6E. That's one of Jedi Consular's farmable locations. He's got many, so they're going to move him off and move Sith Marauder on, which is really exciting because we're going to get the Sith Marauder on Cantina 6E. Anyway, that is the update and the new characters. What do you guys think? Leave your comments down below. And as always, keep your gaming on. Warrior out.